1-800-449-8255, baby. You are on the highly crystallized, fully metamorphosized Clark the Shark Show, where I'm going to take you guys back in time to a groovier time long ago. 1967, the Emotions album by The Pretty Things. And this band, of course, on the next album, they would go to super levels with an album called SF Sorrow. But this pre SF Sorrow album, it's not really demos for SF Sorrow at all. This is a psychedelic Baroque pop, soulful collection of awesome melodies right here, you guys. The Pretty Things, Emotions, right here on Little Sharky's Underground Garage Show, baby, where this is not garage rock like their earlier stuff. This has pianos, violins, cellos. I mean, it is atmospheric music, not in a garage at all. And it is Emotions right here on the Clark the Shark Show. This is an album you have got to buy at Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, everywhere. By this genius band. Now, when you think about The Pretty Things, huge hit songs don't exactly come rocketing. There's a few great songs by the band, but they have good, solid meat and potatoes material on every single album. It is solid. If you want to hear solid drumming that is tight and incredible, it recalls Bobby Elliott of the Hollies here. If you want to hear Baroque pop done better than like the Kinks and the Bee Gees and, a lot of bands, maybe not the Who, like the Who sell out, but man, I love this shit. The Pretty Things, Emotions. It is Emotions, you guys. When you listen to it, it's different tracks, apples to oranges, diversity, very 1960s polish, not garage. I've got to emphasize that and re-emphasize that when I'm talking about an incredible group like The Pretty Things. A band that went on for a long time after the 60s. And, they're pretty much known for one or two songs, you guys, but I love these albums that don't have hits. You know me, Clark the Shark. I'm weird, and I like shit that isn't a hit song. But it's like trying to be a hit and failing or something, or maybe not completely failing, but missing the mark in a great way. And this album does that. Now, where the Who hit gold with the Who Sell Out, much later on after this album, same year, 1967, my favorite year for music, and not necessarily because of the psychedelia. I like the Kinks, and they're not psychedelic at all. And, you could make an argument like the Beach Boys, the Bee Gees, and a bunch of stuff is just really good music. A lot of bands were like, we're not going to get into that psychedelic crap because we know it's just a phase. And the Pretty Things were probably intelligent on that, like, educated level or something, kind of like Ray and Dave Davies and the Kinks. And they didn't want to get too deep into that or something. Now, SF Sorrow would, you guys, but it's more good and great music than it is psychedelic or something. It's, in 1968, you guys, that was post psychedelia for the most part, right here on the Clark the Shark show. But I really like Baroque pop, you guys, an acoustic guitar, violins, snappy drums. I love it. Unfortunately, a lot of rock and roll fans, they don't really like that. They want to hear Jimmy Page cranking up, and they want to hear Who's Next. They don't want to hear Tommy or the Who Sell Out. They want to hear the Stones, Exile on Main Street, and Let It Bleed, and they don't want to hear the Stones, their Satanic Majesties. Rock fans who start smoking weed and drinking beers and hanging out in rooms full of people with chicks, that is one of the problems, you guys. I want you to enjoy music when you're all alone, all by yourself, no friends. I'm not asking you to have no friends. I'm saying when you listen to great music like the Pretty Things, Emotions, 1967, the best way is don't do it with any other people around. You got to be all by yourself. The same way you would listen to The Who, Tommy, or The Who Sell Out, or, The Kinks, something else, quite frankly, you guys are, 1967 is an interesting year for the non-psychedelia as much as it is for the psychedelia, you guys. I love it all. It was just a great time. I was only 2 years old. I wasn't really there. I was just a kid, but I absorbed this music as a baby in diapers or something. Don't ask me how, but I remember this stuff. I do. I remember growing up and hearing the music in the 60s, being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. And it really touched me, you guys. It was great. The 70s, when all the bands got heavier and everyone was playing arenas and they had to impress people, and, rooms full of people all getting stoned and drinking beers. It becomes a social, like everyone agrees, oh, this is good, or this is too early, or this is bad. I don't like that, you guys. My recommendation to you out there, if you're just a kid in 2024, is be all alone and go get into the Pretty Things, Emotions, and albums like this. Get into the Bee Gees, The Who, of course, the Kinks, Arthur, The Village Green, something else. Face to Face, you guys. The Rascals, sure. Don't feel like you have to get into Who's Next, Baba O'Reilly or Led Zeppelin 4, or the Rolling Stones, biggest albums. In some weird way, I hate the album, but for one of their mediocre, shitty albums that is non-good, I recommend Black and Blue by the Stones. I tried to say that in another video, and that's what I meant. I mean of their mediocre albums. The Stones have great albums. Some Girls is great, you guys, and you could make the argument for, Tattoo You. Sure, some people say it's great. I'm not sure, you guys. Me, Clark the Shark. But there's great albums, you guys. Some people wouldn't put The Who, Who Are You, in the great category. I don't know why. But, The Who by numbers is not great, but I, Clark the Shark, love it. Great is Who's Next in Quadrophenia. But for some reason, I, Clark the Shark, love Tommy more, even though it isn't as great or something. I can't put my finger on it or why. But when you go back further to 1967 in the psychedelic days, it's like Baby I Love Everything right here on Little Sharky's Underground Garage. Forget Little Steven, you guys. He doesn't know. I mean, he may have really been there older than me, but it's like I know more or something right here on the Clark the Shark show. I don't know how. I don't know why. I think it's because I get into the music and analyze it. Every groove, every note is important to me. And the Pretty Things are just one of those bands, you guys, that, Baroque pop, yeah, baby. A lot of people don't like Baroque, they don't like it or they don't like Baroque pop, but every single song on this is amazing. You may not agree. You may say, Sharky, for the 60s, this is mediocre. But let me tell you right now, you guys, the drumming is going to really grab you. And these snappy, catchy little songs, like the first one, Death of a Socialite. Dude, you're going to love it. Listen to this over and over. I like the fact this isn't great, but that it's catchy and meat and potatoes good. Track 2, Children. Awesome, you guys. I love the shit where, one speaker's got a violin, one speaker's got a guitar, one speaker's got a piano. The drums are tight and snappy, holding it all together. And then on this album, There Will Never Be Another Day. It's kind of a song about me, Clark the Shark. There will never be another day you get a chance to get a review this good of the Pretty Things, you guys. I'm going to give you the only review that you'll ever want or you will ever need. It's because I was there as a baby in diapers, 1967, and I can't put my finger on it, but I absorbed this. House of 10, one of the best songs on the album. Waller and May. You just got to hear it. In some weird way, I like this more than SF Sorrow. SF Sorrow is awesome, you guys. They go to the next level there. And did that album influence The Who, Tommy? Yeah, it did. There's no doubt. And The Who, Tommy even sounds like SF Sorrow, or, the way the story goes. Who knows? It's probably just a coincidence, serendipity. The best song on the album here is Out in the Night. Awesome. Side 1, so awesome, you guys. Baroque pop. Like the Bee Gees meets the Kinks, meets the Rascals, but not as catchy or good or as any of that, but like better, because I don't know why, you guys. One Long Glance. Side 2 is incredible. Every single one of these songs is amazing. Growing in My Mind could be the best song on the album. It is in a battle, you guys, with the very first song, Death of a Socialite, which is awesome. And House of 10. I can't decide which song I love the most. These aren't hit songs for the top 40, top 10 Billboard, you guys. They're not. They're good meat and potatoes music. Photographer, a little like the Kinks, you guys. I get a Ray Davies, but like more of a Dave Davies vibe. The way these songs miss the mark and they fail, but in a brilliant, great failure. There's a little of a Hollies vibe, but I get a Dave Davies vibe. When Dave Davies writes a song And Ray's just like, I don't like it. I'm not feeling it. But Dave's like, it doesn't have a chorus. It's awful, and I meant it to be that way. That's how this album is, you guys. Every single song fails. And you want to root for it. You want to listen to it because you want to make it good. And yet, that's not happening at all. This is good. Very much a vibe of the Kinks here, but better. They're a better band. These are better musicians, you guys. Bright Lights of the City. At the end, you get some songs that are kind of throwaway. Tripping is very Kinks-like, though, you guys. Very Dave Davies. And My Time, probably the most interesting song on the whole album. The very last one of these Baroque pop. There's little sprinkles of almost garage and almost soul here and there throughout, you guys. But overall, they're trying to be pros here, you guys. Of course, Phil May, the genius, who was always in the band. Vocals, awesome. And Dick Taylor would come again with the band on guitar. And one of the most underrated drummers in history. But, over in England, dude, and in America, everyone knows Skip Allen. Me, Clark the Shark, I'll tell you. And then all these other guys, John Povey, he's in the band a lot. Of course, Wally Waller, who plays a nice role on SF Sorrow, and Pendleton on rhythm guitar, of course. John Stack's bass. A band here that doesn't get its due or something, you guys, because people say, well, Sharky, not a lot of hit songs. But if you're looking for meat and potatoes, if you're looking for spaghetti with cheese and pico de gallo on it, and a Coca-Cola ice cold, it's this album, you guys. Sit down and fucking eat this shit. The Pretty Things Emotions. This isn't the Doors. You're not going to hear Light My Fire. It's not the Who, I Can See for Miles. There's no Good Times, Bad Times from Zeppelin. Sunny Afternoon, the Kinks. No, you won't find it here. But you're going to find almost like an album if Frank Zappa could quit being such a fucking asshole and just write a bunch of songs. He could have been this good or something, you guys. The Pretty Things, Emotions, 1967. Buy this album. It's important. And get into every single album from 1967. And you got to tell them that you heard it from Clark the Shark right here on the Underground Garage. Forget Little Steven, you guys. I'm taking over the Underground Garage, baby. I'm moving him out. I don't like Little Steven, you guys. I don't like douche asshole in that band. Dude, they got one good album. Greetings from Asbury, whatever, dude. I reviewed it. Douche asshole. The rest of his fucking career sucks or something. Maybe Darkness on the Edge of Town. I don't know. But this thing where Little Steven comes along and he thinks he's some underground psychedelic garage genius. I gotta respect him, you guys. He is my elder. But when you're getting into the 1960s, you go to Clark the Shark, baby. That's where you go. Because I'm going to learn you. I'm the teacher, you're the pupil. And I'm going to teach you about the pretty things, emotions. Don't just get into SF Sorrow and then say, oh, I'm a 60s psychedelic rock, Baroque pop, violins. Bee Gees, the Kinks and the Hollies and the Rascals and, all that shit. I'm the expert now because SF Sorrow, you guys, there's much more to it than that. You've got to go before that where they were making demos. And believe you me, this band, The Pretty Things, Emotions, these guys were a garage band on the level of like them and Van Morrison or like the Count Five or, dude, the Music Machine, Standells and all that shit back in 65, 66. All the bands were, you guys. Everyone wanted to be like The Who, My Generation, and all that shit. I don't think any of them ever caught up with The Who. But when bands started getting mature, growing up, using acoustic guitars, violins, and using the drums the way they are used here, you guys, by Skip Allen. Yeah, baby. Yeah. I love Baroque pop. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love this more, way more than like, the Moody Blues, Days of Future Past, or Pink Floyd, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. That's fucking awesome shit. But this has something those don't have. And I can put my finger on it, you guys. This has soul. This has rock and roll, but all confused and fucked up. Just a mishmash pizza cornucopia of nonsense, British insanity or something, you guys. It all falls apart here, you guys, for The Pretty Things, Emotions. And yet it comes together. And just in time, because SF Sorrow would change the world in its own little way. I don't think The Who, Tommy, would have been as good an album without The Pretty Things. And I think Pete Townshend should and he could admit that right here on the Clark the Shark Show, baby. I want you, no, I need you to buy this album. It's important. Because in my worldview, the 1960s will live forever, not just because of a garage, not just because of psychedelia, not just because of the blues in 68 or the heavy, 69. It'll live together live forever and together for the melody, the atmospheres, the textures, the pastels that were painted back in the day, you guys. Go ahead and listen to Little Steven, dude. Why not? He knows what he's talking about. But listen to me just a little more. I don't know why, how, or, why you should, but I think you should. Because you're going to hear about 1960s important albums that maybe went nowhere, like The Pretty Things, Emotions, you guys. You need to hear it. You got to hear it. You got to buy this music online. I know scumbags like David Geffen and Tommy Mottola and Hervé Zoff and Clive Davis are going to make the money, you guys. That's sad. But you could even send money to me, Clark the Shark, dude. My Uber Eats Nissan has broken down. Email me at clahagin@aol.com. Keep your fucking money. I don't care. I'll find a way. The good Lord will help me fix my car, even if I have no money. A miracle always happens, but it won't be as big or as important a miracle as The Pretty Things, Emotions album, 1967. This has something more locking onto your soul and your brain than the Hollies Butterfly. It does, you guys. It's great shit. Not in a garage. Not at all, baby. This is 1967, where polish was emerging as the important avenue in rock and pop music. right here on the Clark the Shark Show. Get this music. It's important for you, especially if you're only 18 years old right now in 2024. Very important, you guys. I'm being completely serious. If you're a little kid born in 2006 or 2007, you need this music. The Pretty Things, Emotions. Forget the 1990s. There's nothing for you there. And just because your older brother or your dad listened to that shit, forget it. You got to go older. You got to go deeper. You got to go more important and more emotional. Emotions. The Pretty Things, baby. Now I'm out of here. Clark the Shark 10-4 VR. I'm out. Peace.